Sometimes you get very, very clear images, and that's when you really zoom in and think, wow, I've hit jackpot. Now, these are those honeycomb type of entrances all around the side. The reason I'm focusing now on this specific time is when I start looking at a few of these, are getting clearer and clearer. Sometimes you get a magic lighting, color, and clarity, and you'll see those little openings on the side that I'm talking about there and there. You see a very strange shape there as well. And you think, well, are these just accidental or are they potentially like a living quarters? It looks very insect-like. This is spectacular, this one. Now, I really want to focus on this one because you'll see a few of the perfect vertical supports going down. You see all the openings on the side. Then all of a sudden you see like a very bright top with also a vertical support running down. And you're just trying to zoom in a bit more just to see, well, it's as though it's composed of some sort of wax or crystalline substance. Look at that. See what I'm trying to get at? It's just a little bit unusual to be natural. Again, it could be totally natural until you then strike something like this. And it's like, okay, why have you got something that looks like a hilltop, but all of a sudden you got these entrances on the side and it drops down vertically and they look like perfect windows or entrances. See that one there? And then you see them down there as well. These are very common things that I've encountered non-stop before my images. Now when you look at that there, can you see what I'm trying to get at? It could be natural, but it's just so unusual that they're all horizontal openings. Let's just go a bit down. I think I've used a contrast on the next picture. I've zoomed in on that one, and you see how they just go all the way across horizontally. And there's that one on top, the openings on the side. I've seen this pattern a lot, and that's why I'm trying to focus and describe it. See it there when I put the contrast on? You'll see all those little openings that are going perfectly horizontal, spaced the same distance apart from the bottom, very discreetly hidden or camouflaged. See what I'm trying to say? Or you can say, well, it's just totally unnatural formation, which it could be. Look at that, it's beautiful honeycomb type of crystalline shapes. Beautiful, look at that. It's got a lot of these little honeycomb type entrances. That is spectacular. And then you can just keep on going through these non-stop and finding nothing special. See, you got the top openings there. And again, everything could be totally natural, but I haven't ever seen these in any Apollo pictures. When they land, it looks like Nevada, a desert. Everything's totally flat. There isn't any indication of any life. The hills are perfectly rounded as though they're just normal hills. See the openings there? And then all of a sudden you see these ones, which are real pictures. And you think, well, what's actually happening here? Look at that. That is spectacular. No, we've just lost it. It's not that clear. This looks like coral. There's openings everywhere. This is unusual because we've got it steps up and you've got the openings on the side. Again, I can't say anything about it. This is spectacular. Look at that. You've got all the openings on the side there. This is very organic. Look at that. You see the tubes coming down there. It's as though everything's organic with tubes and all these processes. That's very flat down, straight down for a lot of openings. This starts to get unusual because we see what looks like a dome and all these openings across, horizontal openings. Insect-like type of dwellings. Tube-like processes there. Curves and rectangles in that one. This has that bizarre square shape in that one. That little dome on top, and this raises up. So we can enlarge a bit more. That's about it. See what I mean? All those openings on the side again. This is unusual. We've got the side supports and then a dome on top. Okay, this gets strange. What we have here are very unusual shapes. You see, like that's a cover or a top, and then like a walkway along the side. That is a very, very unusual shape. I'll see if I can get in the next photo. These are very unusual shapes, these ones coming up. See what I mean? See, I've got those little things coming down the side, that straight line there, and very shiny tops. That horizontal opening right at the top always, and then the shiny top structure. Look at that. It's very grey, very organic-like, very shiny. Not like a rock, more like a organic type of living object. Again, we've got that horizontal slit there. Honeycomb type of patterns. Little holes on the side of that one. Little holes everywhere. Openings there as well. Okay, this is a good one because we see that sudden rise and then that object there. That's too blurred, too bright. Nothing special. This one gets interesting because we got something very special happening here. That bizarre thing I was talking about has a perfectly horizontal like window right there, and those openings there on that hill. And when I zoom in, you'll see what I'm talking about. Can you see how you've got that perfect slit-like opening right there? and that one goes straight up like a square shape out of that one. Sit back about 1.5 meters and just look at that like slit right there. It's very dark and very black. Let's do it again, a little bit larger. There we go. Runs all the way across. I'll just try to use a filter to bring that slit opening up again. I just think it's an opening because it matches all the others I've seen. And we see that square type opening there and that object coming straight down. Look at that. It's a very, very strange shape. Again, you see that? Perfect slit on the side. And a little thing coming down there. I don't know what to think it could be. It could be totally natural. We've got those little openings there again. There's just a lot happening which looks so much crystal-like. It looks so much like that there goes across and there's all those openings in it. It's just fantastic. Not one image I've seen from the Apollo film matches any of these mountain structures or things that I'm seeing. See those openings on the side again? Openings again on the side there, like coral. Wow, this is interesting because it's got quite a few openings on the side here, and that what looks like a top there, and it goes step up, step backwards, step backwards. There's a lot of openings in that one, and sudden steps. Then it goes straight up, then steps again. Interesting, very interesting. That one. There's quite a few right angles happening there that you start to think, well, you shouldn't have that many right angles in the image. Okay, this is interesting because you've got the openings happening there as well. And it just looks tubular. There's tubular processes everywhere happening. Have you ever seen those honeycomb type chocolate wavy flurls? Flurls, I think they're called. Wavy chocolate. That's what quite a few of these things look like. Many tubes and vertical processes going up there. And then a little bit too bright, you can't make it out. That's a clearer picture probably. What we've got is a sudden round opening right there, and those vertical columns going up. And again, you just think, well, how on earth could this be a unnatural formation? And what type of substance is it made from? See, that's more of a drop down and more squarish rectangle pattern. Is this some sort of a crystal-like substance on the moon? Shiny crystalline substance. Again, when you look closely, you see those openings on the side again, those pillars going up, and those tubes coming down, and that tube seems to open up right there. See what I mean? And you got that very bright blue hue around it. Very unusual to catch that. Caught it a few times, it's very rare. See it there, how it goes around the shape of it? There could be a reason, obviously, for that happening. Now this is interesting because you've got that bright white object there again with those little things coming down. I'm not sure to make out of that. Quite a few of these you look at it and you think, well, they're just perfect vertical towers of all these entrances on the side of it. What could have produced that naturally? There isn't any erosion because there's no heavy winds or cyclones or rain happening there. I am told there is a thin atmosphere there, and I did read that in a few of the NASA articles, so it has its own atmosphere. It's a very thin atmosphere, but you haven't got obviously all the things that we have on Earth, like heavy winds, weather, rain. So it's totally different up there. Look at that. All the little openings on the side of that. You can see this beautiful shiny object on top. Can't get any clearer. Okay, this one starts to get interesting because you see all the openings on the side, vertical cliffs openings, and just too many straight rises, and then all of a sudden openings on the side of them. That's why that one's interesting. Little pillars or supports, and then windows on the side. All these crisscross a lattice network of supports or whatever they are, and then there's openings down here. I had to use a filter just to highlight those. And again, we're talking nearly 10,000 magnification using Olympus lenses. Some are spectacular clear, some you could think, well, could do some more work. Here we've got fantastic tubes or organic type shapes. And colours, fantastic. Look at that. Again, quite a few openings happening here on the side. There as well. Into the mountains or hills. I've used a filter obviously to bring those openings up. See them there and there. I haven't enlarged them that large. Perfect. Many crisscross patterns here and tubal structures. I had to use a filter to try to work out what's happening here. Something's coming down here like supports or crisscross shapes. It's not good enough. Okay, here we got something interesting. Because we see something that's like a dome and all of a sudden it goes straight down and an opening there. And that object behind it as well. We've seen this object before actually, but it's not as clear as I want it to be. Okay, I'll use the filter on it now. See what I mean? It looks like there's an opening there and a pillar or support, and there as well underneath. Can you see that? That's as close as I can get that one, obviously. You've got that very bright, shiny object there. We've seen it before. We see the openings down there. It just, your mind boggles what these things could be. And yet, not one picture I've seen from the Apollo missions shows these type of moon mountains, cliffs, and bizarre shapes. Especially that opening right there. Okay, here's where fun starts. We've got all these horizontal slit-like openings in that structure. There, especially that one goes right away across. And this sort of pattern keeps on repeating. So you've got the straight rises. Let's see if I've worked on those pictures. Yes, I have. I've put color contrast, but to a very limited extent. Try it again. You see how that is like a tube-like process then? There's a vertical thing there, some openings there, horizontal, slit-like, straight drops happening. It's like a little, I don't know, it just seems a little bit unusual from where I'm sitting to have all these sort of shapes. There we go. Sit back about 1.5 meters from a computer terminal. Have a close look at that. I've used contrast here as well to get that shape. I'm trying to focus on that shape because it seems there's an opening right under that dome that's horizontal. And I can get it to a certain extent and then that's it. See all the openings there on that cliff face? That shape is that unusual shape, rising higher up. Okay, here we've got something special. We've got a few of these things that look like curves or right angles, then straight openings and square openings happening there. A little bit unusual for that to occur. Again, there's no proof of anything happening, it's just square openings there, pillar supports. That's unusual, that sort of shape. You see what I mean? You've got those little openings in a dome, and then you've got the square openings on the side there in that perfect rectangle. And that shiny roof on top. Again, everything could be coincidental. It's unusual as well, two openings on the side. A tube coming down, it looks like a tube. Looks like a pink, translucent object. It's wonderful. Okay, this is where you really start to think now. You see all those little openings down the bottom and what look like vertical supports coming up. I've got one more picture that's clearer. There we go. I used the contrast in that because I saw little openings there like honeycomb as well. And if you look at that closely, see the vertical columns going from underneath. It looks like a big cover. I've seen this many times repeated. Here we go again. That's the same picture. Further. There was that object with the vertical supports and these other objects that have these openings on the side. This is that special mountain range you've seen before. For all the openings on the side as well, and those pillars up there. Fantastic. Now use a contrast to open that up to show all the openings. See that perfect straight line there, and the openings in there, like cave openings. What could have produced that in nature? See what I mean? This is getting very important now because when I zoom in on that area there, they look perfectly vertical. They don't look curved or natural. They look more intelligent design openings right there. And that, again, could be accidental. And there's an opening there as well. Let's see how far we can open that up. There's an object again. Shiny surface. There's again what I'm trying to focus on. They seem to be right angle and perfectly vertical openings. I used a contrast to try to show you that. I had to take a few snapshots of that one because it's just so unusual. And here we've got, looks like 2 or 3 layers of openings down the bottom there. Okay, this is that object again. And what we have on top is something that seems to be floating on top, which has an area around it that looks like a glow. That's very important because the astronauts did see UFOs above the lunar surface. They were more balls of light. They used to follow them around. And that one there just looks like a ball of light, and you got that glow around it right there. That is a very spectacular shot because I've caught something. See it right there? I don't think it's an accidental blur. And when you then go down that picture and look at that object, you'll see the openings underneath there, and you'll see what looks like vertical columns going up there. See what I mean? That one there, pillar, one there. Underneath, you see all the openings, and you've got that structure hovering above. Look at that. I can't get enough of that picture. It doesn't seem to be accidental. And the zoom is fantastic. That's nearly 10,000, 15,000 magnification. Look at that. And just look at the whole picture as it is. Interesting shapes there. Nothing I can zoom in further. There's that shape which I caught once for all the colours around it. Look at that. It looks like a tortoise shell type of roof or the domes on there, and then it drops vertically. I don't know what could have produced that. It's a right angle shape. It goes straight there, then down that side. I haven't used the word alien anywhere. I don't want to, but I'm just starting to think, some of these shapes. I've used the word honeycomb shape, insect-like, wasp-like type of structures. Something's going up there, it's rounded. I've used the color contrast on that one to bring it up. Rounded object there, rounded object there. Openings on the side, you'll see all the openings there on the side. Always you see openings on the side of these sort of structures. I had to use contrast in this because all I see is these fantastic tubes just creating this structure. Climbing all the way up the side of it. And what's that object floating above? It seems to be floating. I can't see it connected to anything. That's the problem with that object there. And we have seen that object before that was floating as well. See it? Right there. It's a bit too high up. It's not connected to anything. We can't get any more magnification. I'm even surprised I got that magnification out of that. That object seems to be rounded, but it's got the openings on the side of it. Honeycomb shapes. This is unusual because it goes straight up. Again, I can't make anything out of that one. We've got, again, the natural hillsides that have those horizontal openings on the side of them. Spectacular images, look at that. Look at that perfect horizontal slit there. Like ventilation openings or something like that. In the mountain or in the rock. Or crystal. Always very shiny, light reflecting tops. There's that structure with that corner shape. Very shiny top to it. It's interesting, got a pinkish type object there, little openings on the side there. Now this is unusual because we've got something there that looks like a pillar and openings on the side, and some openings there as well, if you see what I see. Okay, this is a good shot again. That's the object we saw before with the object floating on top of it. Now, if you look at that very carefully, you'll see the supports coming down there. That object has opening horizontal slits on the side, and something seems to be again floating there, but now it's two balls of light rather than one. See it there? Before it was one. That's it, it's just separated. Now I've seen these images on top of Apollo 11, which I've done in one other series on my page from their film. They're balls of light, sometimes there's two or one. And here we go again, it's right on top of there. And that structure there and those objects look very strange. See how that pillar comes down, stuff like that, and that object's floating right on top of it. It's right on top of the moon there. We'll see how far I can zoom in again on the pillar. And let's go back. It's a very important picture to memorize. It's very strange. That shape there as well. Very strange. Very alien-like. That's the second time I use the word. Now I'm going to enlarge that using contrast. The contrast really brings everything up, especially those two things floating on top. There's that object again with that pillar or whatever is down the side. Very well camouflaged, but there's more of that picture I think that meets the eye. That's an important picture. There's something very special happening. Now this object seems to be floating on top. It's not connected to anything. Or it's sideways type of object. I don't know what it is. It's probably connected, but it's just so shiny. Ah, it's connected on top of that object with the pillars, which wasn't there before, was it? Here again, you've got the objects with openings on the side, vertical support down there. See how that's unusual? It goes up vertically and you've got the openings. Don't know what to make out of that one. Okay, this is a good one because you see that horizontal slit right there, as though it's some sort of ventilation opening or something like that. It's got those very strange upward processes and openings in there. This one looks, don't know what to say about that one. There's that thing again. It had all these straight-like processes and all of a sudden these openings on the side there. That's a better contrast to that object. Doesn't look natural. It's a very good camouflage attempt, isn't it? If it is produced by artificial, intelligent design creatures, it's very well being camouflaged into the mountain. See what I mean? That just seems to be normal, but then all of a sudden you've got all these openings on the side of it. Openings on the side as well. Okay, something's happening here because I just see what looks like pillars and openings happening in that picture. See what I mean? There as well. What it could be, I don't know. Got the openings down the side there, the arches, and you've got the big pillars coming up straight. No idea what it could be. There's many openings in that as well. Honeycomb-like. This filter is good. It shows all these tubes coming up all across the side. This is a wonderful tube-like process. Look at that, it's full of these tubes, tubular processes. Now when I hit the color filter button, you'll see all that coming up. Spectacular. Half the time I'm not sure what to comment about these images, so I just keep going through them. Look at those vertical columns coming right up the pillars. Look at all those tubes crisscrossing right angles. This is unusual. This is a very nice one. You've got the dome on top, and you've got little step-by-step processes going down. It's even larger than the other picture. And openings down the bottom, or pillars. Openings on the side of the mountain, almost slit-like. A few right angles in that. That's why I thought that's unusual. Wish that right angle there. It's very grey, organic looking, that object. Very bright blue coming up on there. There's that square-like object with the openings. Again, using contrast. Not sure what to make of this. Wonderful colours, wonderful shapes. Once I've pressed a filter on it, I can bring up a little bit more. This is unusual because we've got quite a few right angles here and slit-like openings, but it's not clear enough to make a comment. Too rough. There's that object again. This time you see that, what I'm telling you, like that opening right up the top. It's perfectly horizontal right there. You got those right angles happening. That honeycomb effect right there. pillars. I use contrast on that because there's quite a bit of detail in this one, but I'm not sure what it is. So I just obviously pressed a contrast button. Now this one has quite a few of those openings on the side. Could be a natural cliff, obviously. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just focusing on areas which I think deserve more attention. Especially the openings down that side. Again, quite a few openings on the side happening, and very strange shapes. Unusual because we've got an object right up on there. Unusual because it's white, but all of a sudden you've got these openings and that becomes a right angle there. Very crystal-like type of things. There's a contrast on it. It's like in the Arctic, really. It's very